since he's been in the finals. He doesn't want to drop the ball now, but DRX have been showing up this series. They've been putting up a hell of a fight, and they're back on blue side.
And if you hadn't watched the first couple of games like you're talking about, then you wouldn't know how crazy it was that we got here with all these objective steals, and Guma stealing with multiple objectives, by the way, with the Varus. This Varus has been a super high priority for both lanes, not just because of those lanes, but also so much coming down to these objective fights, and we're getting similar bans here. Like we said, DRX always have to ban the Lucian. They're even following it up with the Ashe this time around too, so it is going to be the pinch point again.
Yeah, expecting similar bans here out of T1. Varus first pick as the answer with Lucian, Caitlyn, Yuumi being down. Unless T1 changes it up and tries to flip the script a bit here on red side. We saw DRX try the Kalista Renata into it. Didn't work in lane phase, but they managed to funnel gold into it because of these Herald fights, getting Death out of the lane, getting him some kills from skirmishes. T1, not a very Kalista Prio heavy team. It didn't work them very well in the regular season, so I doubt they'll lean towards it.
Final ban for DRX on blue side. What's it gonna be? Rise, keeping that one away from Faker, makes sense. Now, what's the response from T1 here on the red? Do they ban the Varus that has been so dominant in this series?
Are they gonna leave up the Sylas Akali trade? Because DRX, with that Rise ban, they're trying to raise the threat of the Zeka Sylas, but Faker has loved playing the Akali into it for the kills early.
Yeah, we'll see if he blinds it. I think if I was DRX's coach, I would say to Piosik, and I would look at the games and think that he's a little bit nervous right now. Kindred would be a great pick here. Comfort is really key, especially with Piosik struggling to get these smites down. Everything other than the smite was great. Viego looks good, but ultimate comfort here in a match point, I think Kindred could work.
Also, then he could Kindred ult these objectives that keep getting stolen away and have an extra hand in trying to secure them.
Wow. So T1's actually going to go for the Kalista. We've only seen Gumiyushi's Kalista once this tournament, and they struggled in Summer Split to play really heavy towards it and dominate the lane as much as maybe they would like. They lean more towards hyper carries of the swords, and they're going to get the Sejuani that is open for the first time in this series. Flex for Zeus and Ona.
And I love it when T1 pick Kalista, because Keiria's got a deep, deep support champion pool. This could even be a support Sejuani. He has pulled out the support Nico with the Kalista as well for a different look at that lane.
Renata is up as well. I think Kindred Renata here would be great comfort for DRX. We saw how powerful Barrel's Renata was, but they could just flip the script. Azir for Zeka. Is that going to be a lock-in?
No way. With Sylas and Akali
with Sylas Akali up, yeah, Renata is a no-brainer. They don't want to give that over. We'll see what Keria matches into this Renata.
Renata locked in next to the Varus. They're up against Sejuani, so they know that T1 will have a powerful front line. Sejuani is tied for most played champion by owners so far at this tournament. T1 love running this in the jungle, and DRX, they'll lock the Azir.
The challenge has been thrown down to Faker. The gauntlet thrown down here. Are you going to play the Akali again?
I think Akali or Sylas here would be great, but they might have to match support depending on what they're thinking in terms of pool. You know, Nautilus could be a good pick. Thresh, something along those lines that can pressure this lane. Blitzcrank as well into those champions. Looks really good if I think about it, but yeah, matching mid could be a no-brainer. Soraka.
Keria. Versatility here. Soraka's poke in lane is probably the biggest underestimated part of the kit. When people look at this champion, you focus on the healing, but Keria plays it so aggressively along with that Kalista, it can be abusive.
And do not underestimate the silence in team fights as well. This can completely throw off otherwise good plays. It's such a rare mechanic in League of Legends. It's hard to remember exactly how that's going to affect things.
So now you're probably expecting DRX to ban away the Akali. You know, if Faker's not going to pick it up, that is a strong kill counter champion into Azir, and Faker has played so many of those games. They ban out the Victor first for the scaling option. Maybe they're thinking, looking at T1's draft, that T1 want some more scaling than that, you know, some control mage look from the mid lane.
Yeah, the Sejuani will need some melee champions with her, whether she's top or jungle. I don't think Faker will struggle to find a champion here on 4. The Sejuani flex is what I'm really concerned about for DRX.
Ooh.
Your jungle pool's been pinched, and you have to blind top against Zeus. Aatrox is a good lean towards, but he'll pick something like Fiora or Yone again with Sejuani. It could be disastrous. So T1 holding all the cards right now in terms of counter picks as the last ban comes through for DRX. What's it going to be? Something like Akali or Sylas can work really well. Functions very strong with Sejuani jungle.
Yeah, surprised they didn't double ban.
Yone.
They're covering the Aatrox. They're saying that we want to blind Aatrox here on 4. Now do they take it away? T1,
Gotta
or
be.
they lock in Fakers, Akali.
Okay, so I think you do blind the Aatrox here, and then T1 will answer with the Fiora for Zeus.
Yeah, 100%. Unless they put the Sejuani top, but I think the matchup is that great in isolation as the game gets later and later on. You have to have a really valuable jungle counter pick, and Pyosik might have to dig deep here because he's facing a Kindred ban. Graves is up, but I feel like they need a little bit, maybe a mini champ here would be better. Something like Vi that can lock the Kalista down.
So much pressure on them, and they know they're facing the Soraka team as well. Gonna have to deal with the sustain in these team fights.
Maokai can lock the Kalista down as well. And it is going to be the Maokai jungle for Pyosik. There's the Fiora last pick as we expected. Triple melee top side. We haven't seen Maokai for a long time. We saw it play-ins, we saw it a little bit in groups, and then it just fell off.
Sprouts his head up here again in the finals in a must-win game for DRX.
And he's good at locking down these mobile carries like a Kalista, like an Akali. He's also good at locking down a squishy target like the Soraka, but it's up to Pyosik to find those plays.
And they've actually layered it with a lot of other big AoE CCs here. The Renata ultimate, you've got Varus, Deft here, really good at setting up plays with the Varus ult. If you cover an area of the map with the Maokai ultimate and the Renata ultimate, makes it way easier to hit the other ones.
I think Deft needs to go more towards an on-hit build here. I think poke against Soraka. Yes, if you hit her, it's great, but if she stays back, she'll heal through your poke. Also, Vamp Scepter early on in lane is great, but of course the Eclipse build can help out. But regardless, hoping Deft goes for on-hits. But we talk about the lockdown of Maokai. Not only is it getting onto the Kalista, but the Akali, when she dives in, point and click CC will be so important in keeping Zeka alive.